A struggling single father opens his home to a mysterious girl who has nowhere to go. He never imagined she was the daughter of a millionaire. What begins as an act of kindness slowly unravels into a story of secrets, second chances, and unexpected love. Comment below where you're watching from. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the rest of the story. Jasper wiped his calloused hands on his worn jeans and glanced at the sky. The sun had dipped low, casting a soft orange hue over the horizon. His small, run-down house sat at the end of a gravel road in a town most people only passed through. He didn't have much, but it was his. More importantly, it was home to his 6-year-old son, Noah. That evening, Jasper was outside stacking the last pieces of firewood for the night when he noticed a figure walking slowly along the road. At first glance, she looked lost. Her coat was too thin for the chilly air, and her steps were hesitant, like she didn't know where she was going or even where she had come from. As she neared, he could make out her features, young, maybe in her early 20s, with eyes that seemed both tired and proud. Her hair was tied in a loose braid, and her boots were caked in mud. She clutched a small duffel bag like it held the last of her life in it. "Excuse me," she said softly, "do you know if there's a motel nearby?" Jasper shook his head. "Not around here. Closest one is about 10 miles out, and they don't take walk-ins this late." The girl nodded, lips pressed together. "Okay, thanks." She turned to walk away. "Wait," he called after her. "You don't have anywhere to stay, do you?" She hesitated, then shook her head, eyes cast downward. "I'll be fine." "No, you won't," Jasper said plainly. He wasn't one to involve himself in other people's business. But something about her made him pause. Maybe it was the way she carried herself, like someone who'd fallen from someplace high and was trying to walk it off. "You can stay here tonight," he offered. "It's not much, but it's warm, and my kid wouldn't mind the company." She studied him for a long second, trying to decide if he was kind or crazy. "Why?" she finally asked. "Because you look like you need a break," he replied. "Name's Jasper. That little guy peeking through the window is my son, Noah." Noah waved from the window with his tiny hand, eyes full of curiosity and joy. The girl allowed herself a small smile. "I'm Aria," she said, "and thank you." Inside the house, it was simple but cozy. The furniture was mismatched, the floorboards creaked, and the smell of soup hung in the air. Aria sat on the edge of the couch, warming her hands near the fireplace as Jasper ladled out bowls of leftover chicken stew. Noah climbed onto the chair beside her, chattering about his toy trucks and asking if she had any pets. Aria listened, amused, but said little. "You don't have to talk," Jasper said once Noah had gone to bed. "But if there's something you need, you can ask." Aria looked at him, then at the fire. "I just needed somewhere to stop. Somewhere no one would think to look." He didn't pry. He just nodded and handed her a blanket. "You're safe here." That night, after Jasper had gone to bed, Aria stood by the window, staring out at the quiet land. A crescent moon hung overhead. She reached into her duffel bag, pulling out a silver locket with her family's crest, a reminder of who she was and what she was running from. She hadn't lied when she said she needed a place no one would look. But she hadn't told the truth either. Because the truth was, Aria wasn't just any girl on the run. She was the only daughter of billionaire hotel magnate Charles Whitmore. And tomorrow, her photo would be on every news station as missing heiress disappears without a trace. But for tonight, she was just Aria, a tired girl in a stranger's home, warmed not by money or status, but by soup, kindness, and the laughter of a little boy named Noah. The next morning brought the scent of sizzling eggs and buttered toast drifting through the small home. Aria stirred awake on the couch, wrapped in a slightly faded blanket. She sat up slowly, blinking at the warm light pouring through the windows. For a second, she forgot where she was. Then she saw Noah in the kitchen, perched on a stool, kicking his legs while Jasper flipped pancakes in a cast iron pan. Jasper noticed her movement and offered a crooked smile. "Morning. Hope the couch treated you okay." Aria brushed her hair out of her face. "Better than a park bench. And those pancakes smell like heaven." Jasper chuckled and plated a few golden rounds, sliding them onto a dish. "You're in luck." Then, Noah requested chocolate chips. "I asked twice." Noah grinned, showing off a mouth already smeared with syrup. Aria's eyes softened. May I help with something? You being here's already a help. Jasper replied, but you can pour the juice if you're serious. She joined them, slowly stepping into a life that felt oddly familiar despite being so far from her own. They sat together, the three of them, as if they did this every weekend. So, Jasper began, buttering a pancake. What's the story, Aria? You said you left home. But not why. Aria hesitated, her fingers tightened slightly around the fork. It's complicated. Jasper didn't push. Instead, he shrugged. Fair enough. I've had my share of complicated. Noah interrupted, mid-bite. Are you gonna stay with us, Aria? Aria smiled gently, just for a little while. Bud, I don't want to be a burden. You're not, Noah said simply. You make Daddy smile more. Jasper cleared his throat, embarrassed. Noah, finish your pancakes. But Aria's cheeks flushed pink. In a strange way, this felt more like home than anything she had back at the mansion. Later that afternoon, Jasper headed out to take Noah to school and cover a landscaping job nearby. Aria stayed behind and, noticing the state of the house, decided to surprise them. She swept the floors, folded laundry, even repaired a loose cabinet door. She moved with quiet purpose, enjoying the simple rhythm of housework, so different from her hollow socialite life. By the time Jasper returned, he blinked in disbelief. Did a cleaning service come through? Aria gave him a teasing smile from the kitchen sink. Nope, just a bored guest with too much time. Jasper looked around, then at her. You didn't have to do all this. I wanted to. You've been kind to me. Jasper, that's not something I take lightly. For a moment, their eyes met, something tender flickering between them. Jasper broke it first. Thank you, Aria. Really? That evening, after Noah went to bed, they sat on the porch beneath the stars. Jasper offered her a chipped mug of tea. Aria accepted it gratefully. Can I ask you something? She said, voice quiet. Sure. Why'd you help me? You didn't know me. He leaned back in the creaky chair, looking up at the stars. You looked like someone who needed a hand. And I've been there, needing one and not finding any. I'm not used to kindness with no strings. She whispered. Jasper looked at her, his gaze gentle but steady. Then maybe it's time you got used to it. That night, Aria lay awake thinking about his words. She had no plan, no direction, just her instinct that this place, this rundown home filled with love, was exactly where she was meant to be right now. But she also knew the truth about who she was couldn't stay hidden forever. And when it came out, would Jasper still look at her the same way? The next few days passed like a gentle breeze. Aria stayed in the small house, sharing quiet breakfasts and long walks to the corner market with Jasper and Noah. Every evening, they'd sit on the front porch as the sky blushed pink and orange. Aria had never felt more grounded in her life. Noah was growing attached. He called her Miss Aria, and he'd tug on her hand while showing her his collection of bottle caps and drawings. Aria kept every single one he gave her, tucking them into a small pouch in her bag like treasures. Jasper, however, was more reserved. He remained kind but cautious, as if he didn't want to get too comfortable with her presence. And Aria understood. She hadn't told him the truth, hadn't mentioned anything about her real identity. Not even her last name. One morning, while folding laundry, Aria caught a glimpse of a faded photo on the fridge. It was of a young woman holding baby Noah, smiling brightly. She was beautiful, Aria said softly, touching the edge of the photo. Jasper looked up from where he was repairing a dining chair. Yeah, her name was Emily. She passed away 2 winters ago. Pneumonia. It all happened so fast. I'm so sorry, Aria whispered. Jasper nodded, but his eyes were distant. She was the strongest person I ever knew. Held everything together, even when we had nothing. Aria placed the shirt she was folding back into the basket. You've done a good job, Jasper. No's smart, kind, and clearly happy. A faint smile tugged at his lips. I try. It's not easy, though. I work nights at the mill and take whatever day jobs I can get. The house needs repairs. The bills stack up faster than I can pay him, but I have Noah. That's all that matters. Aria's heart tightened. This man carried so much, yet never complained. Her world, filled with luxury, chauffeurs, and gala dinners had never prepared her for the kind of quiet strength Jasper embodied. Later that day, Aria went to town alone for groceries. As she waited in line, she heard a familiar voice from behind. Aria Whitmore? She turned sharply. It was Clara, the personal assistant her father had assigned to her months ago. Clara's eyes were wide, her mouth open in shock. Oh my God, what are you doing here? We've been trying to reach you. Your father is furious. You've missed the Whitmore Foundation Gala and the magazine interview. And Aria quickly stepped outside, motioning for Clara to follow. Keep your voice down, she hissed. I'm not ready to go back yet. Clara frowned. You can't just disappear. You're the daughter of Lawrence Whitmore. People notice when you're gone. And now you're here, in a tiny town, buying canned beans in a thrift store hoodie? Aria's voice lowered. I needed a break. Clara, I needed something real. Not cameras, not business deals, not being auctioned off to the highest bidder at another charity event. Clara stared at her. Does this have to do with that guy? The one you're staying with? Yes, Aria admitted, but not the way you think. He's a good man. He doesn't even know who I really am. Clara crossed her arms. Well, he's about to find out. The press is sniffing around already. That night, Aria sat on the porch steps next to Jasper, her heart heavy. I met someone in town today, she said carefully. Someone who knows me, from my old life. Jasper looked over. You mean from the city? Aria nodded. Yes, and I think the truth might catch up with me sooner than I wanted. Jasper leaned back against the wooden post. You don't have to tell me anything you're not ready to share. Aria looked at him, eyes glossy. But I want to. I just don't want you to look at me differently. Aria, he said gently, what matters to me is who you are when you're here, not the label on your clothes or the name on your mailbox. Aria breathed in, fighting back tears, but before she could say anything more, Noah pushed open the screen door. Dad, Aria, come see. I built a rocket ship out of pillows. Jasper smiled. Duty calls. As they followed Noah into the house, Aria knew time was running out. Soon, everything would change, and she didn't know if her truth would destroy the fragile trust they'd built, or set them free. The morning sunlight streamed through the thin curtains, casting a soft glow over the small living room where Aria sat curled up on the worn-out sofa. She had barely slept, replaying last night's conversation over and over in her mind. Jasper had offered her a place at his table, not out of obligation, but from a genuine place of care. And that care had shaken something loose inside her. She wasn't used to kindness that didn't come with strings attached. Jasper emerged from the bedroom, still groggy, but smiling at the sight of Noah wrapped around Aria like a little koala. He snuck out of bed again. Didn't he? Jasper said, rubbing the back of his neck. Aria nodded, brushing Noah's messy curls from his forehead. He said he wanted to make sure I didn't disappear. Jasper looked away, a lump forming in his throat. That was the thing about his son, he felt things deeply. Just like his mother had. I can make breakfast, Aria offered, standing up slowly. It's the least I can do. You sure? Jasper asked. It's not much, eggs. Some day-old bread, maybe a bruised apple or two. Aria grinned. Trust me, I've made do with less. She moved through the kitchen with an unexpected grace, humming softly as she cracked eggs into a bowl. Jasper watched her from the doorway, surprised at how natural she looked here, like she belonged. But that thought scared him more than he cared to admit. Later that day, after Jasper left for his landscaping gig, Aria stayed behind to clean up. She didn't just wash dishes, she wiped down shelves, organized the pantry, folded the laundry, and even fixed the wobbly kitchen chair with a few nails she found in the drawer. Noah trailed after her like a shadow, full of questions about everything from clouds to cartoons. Aria didn't mind. In fact, she enjoyed it. With every hour that passed, the little boy wrapped her heart tighter around his tiny finger. In the afternoon, Aria stepped outside to stretch her legs and saw Jasper pulling weeds from the neighbor's fence. Sweat soaked through the back of his shirt, and he winced each time he bent down. She crossed the street without thinking. You look like that's trying to kill you. Jasper chuckled, straightening up. Feels like it might succeed. Can I help? He was about to say no, but there was something about her expression, earnest, warm, that made him stop. Sure, he said finally, handing her a pair of gloves. They worked side by side for an hour, chatting about everything and nothing. Jasper talked about his late wife, about how quiet the house had become after she passed. Aria spoke vaguely about her family, carefully skipping over anything that might reveal her true identity. Eventually, they sat on the curb, drinking lemonade that Aria had made with the last 2 lemons in his fridge. "You're a strange woman, Aria," Jasper said. "Strange how? I let you in because I felt sorry for you, but now I feel like you're the one helping me." Aria didn't respond at first. Then she turned to him and said, "Maybe we're helping each other." Jasper looked at her, and for a fleeting moment, it felt like time paused. Like he was seeing her, not just as a stranger who wandered into his life, but as someone he could trust, maybe even need. But before either could say more, a black SUV slowly rolled to a stop across the street. Aria's entire body tensed. Jasper followed her gaze. A suited man stepped out, sunglasses covering his eyes. He scanned the neighborhood, then locked eyes with Aria. "No," she whispered under her breath. Jasper stood up protectively. "You know him?" She nodded, heart racing. "That's my father's head of security." Jasper's expression darkened with realization. "They've been looking for you." Aria's hands trembled. "If he's here, it means they know I'm alive, and they're going to take me back." Noah ran out from the house, waving. "Miss Aria, want to play pirates?" She turned, her breath catching. "I'm not ready to go yet." Jasper stepped in front of her, blocking the view from the SUV. "Then you're not going anywhere." The SUV lingered another minute, then slowly drove off, but Aria knew it was only the beginning. Her world, her real world, was closing in. And for the first time, she wasn't sure she wanted to go back. The morning sun peeked through the thin curtains of Jasper's modest living room, bathing everything in a soft, golden hue. Aria stood at the small window, sipping coffee from a chipped mug, lost in thought. The peaceful quiet of the house was comforting, but the heaviness in her chest remained. She had grown used to these walls, used to the scent of pancakes in the morning, the quiet hum of cartoons when Noah woke up early, and the way Jasper hummed under his breath as he made breakfast. But today, everything felt different. Last night, after their walk, Jasper had said goodnight with a gentleness that made her heart ache. There was something unspoken between them, an understanding that whatever this was, it couldn't last, not unless she told him the truth. Just then, Noah shuffled into the room, rubbing his eyes. "Aria?" She smiled softly and crouched to his level. "Good morning, little guy. Are you gonna leave today?" he asked, his sleepy voice barely above a whisper. The question sliced through her. "Why would you ask that?" "Because you looked sad last night. And when my mom left, she looked like that too." Aria's breath caught. She pulled him into a hug. "I'm not going anywhere right now. Okay?" Noah nodded slowly, then leaned against her. She held him tightly, thinking about what his little heart had already endured. He had lost his mother. He didn't deserve to lose anyone else. Later that morning, while Jasper washed dishes, Aria finally sat across from him at the small kitchen table. Her hands trembled slightly as she clasped them together. "I need to tell you something." Jasper turned off the faucet and dried his hands. His eyes locked on hers. "Okay, I haven't been honest with you about who I am." He didn't say a word, just waited, steady and calm. "My real name is Aria Sinclair. My father is Raymond Sinclair. He owns Sinclair Holdings." Jasper's brow furrowed, and his lips parted, but no words came out. "I didn't mean to lie. I wanted to experience life outside of that world. I was suffocating under it. I was tired of people treating me like I was something delicate or trying to use me to get to him." Jasper exhaled slowly and sat down. "So when I met you, I was running away," she said. "I didn't plan to stay. But then Noah smiled at me. And you gave me kindness without expecting anything." He leaned back in his chair. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" "Because I was afraid it would ruin everything." Silence filled the room. Aria looked down, bracing herself. But Jasper's voice, quiet and low, broke through. "You know what I've learned? People always leave when they have something better waiting. I just didn't expect you to be one of them." Her eyes filled with tears. "I never wanted to hurt you. Or Noah." Jasper looked away. the muscle in his jaw tightening. So what now? I got a call this morning. My father's lawyer found out where I am. He's coming. Probably today. Jasper stood up suddenly, pushing back his chair. You have a whole other life waiting. Aria, what are you even doing here with people like me? Because I love you, Jasper, she said, her voice breaking. I didn't plan it, but it happened. You and Noah, you became my home. He froze. But before he could say a word, a sleek black car pulled up in front of the house. Aria stood slowly, her heart pounding in her chest. They're here. Noah peeked around the corner. Sensing the tension, Jasper looked at her, eyes filled with 100 emotions. Then you better go see what your world wants from you. The knock on the door wasn't loud, but it echoed through the house like thunder. Jasper didn't move. Aria stood frozen by the table, heart thudding in her ears. Then, with a deep breath, she walked to the door and opened it. A sharply dressed man in a charcoal gray suit stood there, stern face, trimmed beard, and eyes that bore into her like stone. Behind him stood another man, tall and intimidating, her father's head of security. Aria, the man in front said curtly, Mr. Sinclair sent us. You need to come home. Immediately, Aria crossed her arms, defiant. I'm not a child. I left because I needed space. The man didn't flinch. You've made your point. You've embarrassed your father long enough. He wants you back, safe, and away from places like this. Jasper stepped into view behind her. Places like this. It hit like a slap. Aria turned, caught the hurt flicker in Jasper's eyes, and suddenly she felt protective, not of herself, but of him, of Noah, of everything they had given her without knowing her past. You can tell my father that I'm not coming back. At least not today, maybe not ever. The man's expression darkened. You know this won't end well. He will come himself if he has to. Let him, Aria said, voice firm. I'm not afraid of him anymore. The man hesitated, then gave a slight nod before walking off with the other guard. The black car disappeared down the dusty road, swallowed by the sunlight. She closed the door quietly and turned around. Jasper stood with arms folded, guarded. So you're staying? I want to, she said, but I won't lie, I still have to face my father. There are responsibilities waiting for me, but that doesn't mean I want to walk away from this. Jasper looked at her long and hard. I don't need your money, Aria, and I definitely don't want pity. She walked closer. I know, I don't want to save you. I want to choose you. The silence between them was heavy, but then, a small voice cut through. Are you leaving again? Noah stood by the hallway, clutching his favorite blanket. No, honey, Aria said, kneeling down. I'm staying, as long as your dad will let me. Jasper swallowed hard. Then slowly, he knelt beside her. Noah, do you like having Aria around? The boy nodded quickly. She makes pancakes better than you. Jasper chuckled. I won't argue with that. They all laughed, soft, healing laughter that felt like a new beginning. Weeks passed. Aria did meet with her father. The conversation was cold at first. He was furious about the scandal her disappearance had caused. But something in her resolve must have reminded him of her late mother. He relented, offering her control of a charitable foundation under the Sinclair name, on one condition: she'd have to return to the city. But Aria refused. Instead, she proposed something else. Use that foundation to support struggling single-parent families, people like Jasper. She would manage it from a small satellite office she opened in town, not far from Jasper's home. Over time, the townspeople who once eyed her with suspicion came to accept her. Not because of her last name, but because of her actions. She volunteered at the local shelter, helped at Noah's school, and never once tried to act above anyone. As for Jasper, the walls around his heart slowly crumbled. He didn't fall in love easily, but when he did, it was deep, loyal, and real. One afternoon, while they sat on the porch watching Noah chase fireflies, Jasper reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, simple ring. Marry me, he said, not because I can give you a castle, but because I'll give you a home. Tears filled her eyes as she nodded. Yes, 1,000 times, yes. Final scene. The wedding was small, held in a sun-dappled garden behind Jasper's house. Aria wore a cream lace dress. Noah stood proudly beside them, holding a bouquet he made himself. And as they exchanged vows under the open sky, it wasn't just a union of two hearts, it was the start of a family that had found one another through grace, honesty, and second chances. From strangers to soulmates, they had rewritten their own story. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe to Tellinight. At Tellinight, stories remind us that healing begins with hope, and even the gentlest kindness can rewrite a destiny. Don't forget to tap the bell so you never miss a story that could brighten your day or transform your perspective. Until our next story, keep your heart open and your spirit brave.